Okay, we're going to get started. Welcome everyone. Good morning. Today's webinar, we're featuring trends on virtual fitness. I'm Jeff Shipman, CEO of Heartline Fitness. We have two special guests, but very familiar to us at Heartline. I have Jeff Vogel, which is our DC and New York City sales rep, an amenity expert. I also have Matt Silver, who is in the New Jersey region for us. And today, again, we're speaking on virtual fitness. And a lot's going on here, and there's certain ways to interpret what does virtual fitness mean, right? Could be this guy here with the glasses, could be what you have on your cell phone and what you do at home. But there's also group exercise, specific products, rooms that we've been designing and developing. So I think this is very important in the era of COVID here that we're dealing with, and how are we dealing with virtual fitness in a lot of these different lanes that people can consume it. So without further ado, again, welcome everyone. We will follow up the session here today with some Q&A. So if you have questions, feel free to type them in at any time, and we'll get them at the end of the session. But without any further ado, I'd like to kick it off to Jeff Vogel.
Thanks, Jeff. First off, good morning, everybody. Hope everyone is staying safe and being healthy. So just to kind of kick off the discussion, just on a broader sense, virtual fitness. Why virtual fitness, and why it is important to sort of start capitalizing on this this fitness trend and this industry trend, and really to understand why virtual fitness has taken a very drastic sort of upwards trend at this point. You have to take you back to a couple years ago. 2013 to 2017, the idea of boutique fitness really started taking hold in the fitness industry, and it boomed. It grew over 120% just in those 4 years. And if you can remember back, that's when CrossFit, other boot camp style boutique in-person classes really started to take hold. Whether it was Soldier Fit, Soul Cycle, any of those individual cycling bars that you saw start to grow and start to populate most likely your own neighborhoods if you were paying attention. But really what that catered to, if you can think about, say, a big box gym, like a big commercial gym like an LA Fitness, where you walk in, you give them your membership card, they check you in, someone at the front desk. You're walking around, you hop on a treadmill, you hop on a machine, you may see a trainer walking around every once in a while. But what these boutique fitness centers provided was a real one-on-one connection and a real one-on-one interpersonal connection that you had with a trainer. You had classes ranging from maybe 5 to a dozen people. The classes were quick, usually 30 minutes at a time or so, in and out, high intensity training. There was music, and it was enjoyable. It was interactive. And that's really what these boutique fitness centers capitalized on, and what allowed them to grow as rapidly as they did. And what's more, and Jeff probably won't like me saying this, he's an avid CrossFitter, but it grew a sense of community. And if you can remember, if you've ever been involved with CrossFit, you've got these people outside of CrossFit saying that it was CrossFit is a cult. No, it's not a cult, but it is a community. And what that really developed was a sense of again, community within the individual CrossFit pods that you had. So you had, for example, in Alexandria, Virginia, you had your CrossFitters going up against your CrossFitters in Clarendon, Virginia, and vice versa. And you had this global connection between people who were comparing and contrasting themselves, how you did on your WOD and things like that. So it created, again, this awesome sense of community, where people felt engaged and motivated to come back. And again, that's what kind of built this sort of interconnected community fitness. So fast forward to where we are today, obviously, with COVID, and obviously with fitness centers and boutique fitness centers and big box gyms being shut down, and some of which being foreclosed upon and bankruptcy. people are looking for that interconnection and that community sense in their fitness. And you started to see this with, certain companies like Peloton, like Mirror, who were offering residential products originally and started building upon that. And now what you've seen is companies like Echelon, Veron, Wellbeats, Fitness on Demand, these companies capitalizing on this marketplace where they are now introducing these products and things into the commercial market. So industry-wise, I mean, there's an anticipation that this market is going to absolutely boom within the next 5-6 years, and certainly with COVID being as prevalent as it is right now and possibly well into next year, this trend is only going to continue to go up. So from a financial standpoint, it absolutely makes sense to capitalize on it now, whether you are a community manager, property manager with a corporate office building where people, again, most offices in DC, they still haven't opened their gyms, and people are looking for that outlet, that ability to work out and to do their exercisings. Convenience based, I mean, it's incredibly convenient when you can literally roll out of bed, and if you've got a reflect mirror on the wall, just hit a button and you can actually take a Taibo boxing class, or you can do some sort of meditation wellness exercises. So it's extremely convenient. It's on demand. There are live classes. There are classes that are being stored in the cloud, so you can access them at any time. There's also a variety of exercises. It's not just high intensity exercises. It's also yoga, it's meditation. There's discussions about incorporating nutritional seminars and things into these virtual offerings. So these companies that are capitalizing on the virtual training market right now, they're very nimble and they're very easily adaptable to changing trends. So it's great. And what's more is you still get that community aspect. And now it's not just, my CrossFit class that I attend in Arlington, Virginia. It's now a global community. So just quick sort of anecdote, I was actually in Echelon's headquarters in Chattanooga last week, visiting them. And I visited their studio in Chattanooga where they film all of their classes. And the community of riders across the country got together on Facebook and put together a calendar with all of their pictures and images, anecdotes about certain rides that they did, and actually sent it to the trainers at Echelon. So this cool sort of community and interconnectedness, even though we can't train face-to-face right now and COVID has sort of ruined that aspect, you still get this real community feel, and that's what these companies are capitalizing on, which is fantastic in the marketplace. So I wanted to go through a couple of these companies that Heartline has been partnering with and working with, some of the things that kind of differentiate themselves, and then Matt's going to get into some of the designs that we've been incorporating into existing projects and new developments. Jeff? So I mentioned Echelon. So Echelon is a company, they're based out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. However, they've been a very quickly growing company in the fitness, virtual fitness marketplace for the past couple of years. They started as a residential company, but they quickly realized that there was a need for a robust commercial offering in this space. Really, this company is one to keep an eye on, and it's one that Heartline is very, very excited to be partnered with. What they are doing currently right now, I mean, they have virtual offerings and virtual products with their bike, their EX5S bike that has a built-in screen just like your Peloton bike, but again, it's a commercial model. They also have mirrors, so fitness mirrors that do one-on-one sort of more intimate training classes, rowers, but they're also introducing treadmills very shortly. And what they're doing is they are arranging their product lines to range from residential offering to light commercial, high-end residential offering, all the way up to full commercial offering. So it's an omni-channel distribution. So for example, in your home, If you have a subscription to Echelon, you could have a mirror on your wall, you could have a rower on your floor, you could have a treadmill in your basement, and that one subscription will activate all of those different products, and you can do so many different exercises and basically have your own home gym with your own personal trainer. So it's a very, very cool distribution channel that they're capitalizing on. Live studio classes, I mentioned they have a studio in Chattanooga, Tennessee. They also just recently opened up another studio in Miami, Florida. So they are a very rapidly expanding company. One of the issues that a couple companies have run into recently is music, whether or not they have the licensing to actually put music on in the background of many of their classes. Some companies have gotten sued. Echelon took the extra step to actually go to the music industry and get licensing. So the music that you're hearing is actual music that you hear on the radio. It's not just some sort of generic house music, so very cool. And again, as I mentioned, community engagement. They have a massive online Facebook community that gets together after rides and tells each other stories about, oh, when I got to this part in the ride, I was struggling, but then, trainer Katie, told me to, she called me out in the class, and I'm super motivated. It's very cool, and it's, again, very engaging. So it's a awesome product line, an awesome company to get behind. And again, we're very excited for the future with Echelon. You can go next slide. Espresso bikes. Espresso's been around for a while, but something that they do very kind of unique is the gamification of their products. They also have a recumbent bike, which is kind of unique on the market. As I mentioned, Echelon has bikes, upright bikes, rowers, treadmills, and the reflect mirror, but Echelon has this kind of cool recumbent bike. So the seated bike you see there in the bottom right-hand corner. Handlebars, they're interactive handlebars, a little bit more immersive. They actually will turn with you. The sort of the gamification of this product, you can actually, you can be flying through the air and shooting at dragons, other sort of cool games, almost like a video game, if you will. The other cool thing about Espresso bikes is the challenges that they can do. So Espresso has kind of set up a system where, for example, if you have two bikes installed at building X down the street and building Y, sister property, and you have two bikes at each property, you can actually set up a challenge between those two buildings. So you can announce to your 300 plus residents in building X and building Y and say, for the next month, you hop on your Echelon bike, we're competing against that building down the street. Whoever can burn the most calories, go the most miles, slay the most dragons, whatever it may be. And Espresso will actually set that up for you on the back end. And it's a way to, again, further engage the community, get people active, get people motivated to work out. It's fun, it's neat. So again, it's a very cool product line, a little bit different with the sort of gamification, and definitely another product that we're psyched to represent and to offer to our clients.
Sorry, I was actually talking there without taking myself off mute. I wanted to bring in, we actually have Doug Courier on the webinar here. So I wanted to bring him in as a panelist really quick to just maybe touch on a couple points that, specific to Heartline with, the assessments that we're doing, the engagement with people's lifestyle and the community. And, we've done some really interesting things with demoing this bike and proving that out with the data. And again, this bike is very different in a lot of senses from Echelon and Peloton. And I think it's important to kind of distinguish those things. So Doug's hopping on here now. He's still on mute, but if you can hear us, Doug, would love to hear kind of some feedback from you, and just key points with, what you've seen Heartline do, what you've accomplished with this bike in the vertical markets, which again is apartment complexes, condos, and I know you have an extensive background in the gym environment also.
Yep. Well, thanks for having me jump on. Kind of unexpected, but happy to have the opportunity. So, yeah, we do get compared to Echelon and Peloton just because of the screen on the bike, but we're built more of a virtual outdoor riding experience with some other features. We do have a spin component on there, but we cater to the large demographic that like outdoor riding, like the HIIT gaming. We have heart rate training programs on there, so it allows you to cast a wider net to versus just the spin platform, which is a different bucket of type of cyclists. But to Jeff and Jeff's point, we really pride ourselves on the community building aspect of Espresso. On the bikes at any given time, there's week-long challenges, year-long challenges, month-long challenges that residents and frankly any location will use to build community. You talked about the importance of needing to build community now in different ways, and we frankly have always done that. So we pride ourselves on being a community product, sort of an affinity group where people can get multiple ways of engaging with the games, the heart rate trainings, the outdoor simulated riding. So we have the ability to customize, and to Jeff's point, we just put a demo in at one of Jeff's properties where we built out a custom challenge. We showed the value of the community building aspects of Espresso, and they were quick to decide that that was the right fit for what they were looking to do. We do differentiate ourselves with having the recumbent as well, because there's a lot of active older adults and youth riders that will gravitate towards our recumbent bike because, you know, let's be honest, great products, but not everybody can get onto an upright bike. So having that other option has really made us a viable option in a lot of different spaces, multi-housing, club, corporate, any location. So different from the Echelons and Pelotons, but we cater to that community, that type of facility that wants to build community around some fun and unique ways of cycling. So
awesome.
Yeah.
I greatly appreciate you dropping in, Doug, and helping out here. You know, again, too, on some of the points that Jeff and Doug have mentioned here, one of the things our clients, property managers, boards, condo associations, and there's a couple key things too to mention are, you know, retention rates, right, and your rental rates, and things that build community, enhance the lifestyle of that demographic. This is a niche product that does exactly that. And the other point really is, you know, if you are the property that's the community, that's where everybody that's cool lives, you know, the sought after place with that lifestyle that you want, that increases the value of the property and the building and what you're providing. So it's important in this day and age. And again, we're talking about virtual fitness here. You know, when we assess properties, this is one of the things that we're providing in our assessment. How do we provide niche products, possibly virtual products, that enhance the community and build that lifestyle that increases the, you know, return on your investment, right? And in the sense of the value of your property, the retention of your renters, possibly renewing and staying in that community. So very important piece to kind of digest, you know, as we assess and design these facilities. So thank you again, Jeff.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep going with you. You've got another slide here.
I was going to let Doug continue. I'll just go get a coffee.
Appreciate it.
No, thank you, Doug. I appreciate you hopping on.
Yeah. Thanks again, Doug.
Thanks for having me, guys.
So moving on, next product that we have lined up here is Aviron. They are a rowing company. So again, taking that virtual interactive connected fitness and applying it to a rowing machine here. Some of the neat parts about what Aviron does, first off, they've got a very, very cool residential product that actually folds up. So I know a lot of people, and I do a lot of business in New York City, a lot of people, small apartments, small condominiums that don't have a ton of space. The Aviron residential rower is fantastic. It folds up to very, very minimal space and will store very easily in a closet. Off to the side, it's great. I've seen it in action. It's fantastic. But again, strictly a rowing company, but they've got some very cool components built into their software. They've got 6 workout modalities, performance, competition, games, programs. Virtual, these are real scenic rows. So in the top left corner, you can see these are actual real scenic tours that you can take. And while you're rowing, it feels like you're on an actual rower, you're on a river, locations around the world. One thing I did want to call out that's very, very cool is the Pros versus Joes program. So you can actually row against Olympic athletes and compare yourself to how well or how poorly you do, quite frankly. They've got other professional athletes on there, possibility of doing like celebrity athletes, things like that. So again, all of these companies, all of these products that have this software component built in, they're very, very nimble and they're very easily able to adapt to certain trends. And, you know, bringing in celebrity trainers, things like that, super easy for them. And updating their software, updating their programming is super easy for them. So, Jeff. 3 Sages, another product that if you've been on any of our previous webinars, you might have heard us discussing. 3 Sages is an app-based platform. You can go on to the App Store and download it now if you'd like. We've partnered with this company. They are, whereas most of the other companies that we've discussed today are focused on fitness, actual workouts, building muscles, HIIT training, things like that. 3 Sages has approached this in much more of a holistic and wellness-based sense. And what they've done is actually incorporated short videos, what they call sips of wellness, some videos as short as 5 minutes, whether it's meditation, breathing exercises, stretching, things that we don't necessarily think about as contributing to our overall well-being and wellness. But certainly in this day and age where people are stressed and, you know, stressed, let's face it, they need that kind of relaxation and meditation and Zen approach. They've also incorporated nutrition and recipe recommendations. So they've got different coffee products that, you know, can incorporate protein, things like that. So a very cool app. But in addition to that, what they've actually started developing now is what they call their restore wall. So basically it's that upper left-hand corner picture you see. So it's a wall that's about 9 foot by 9 foot. It's solid wood, very beautiful looking piece that will incorporate this 3 Sages app into the actual screen you see. It will have certain accessories, whether it's rollers, mats, hyper ice, hyper volts, massage guns, which are very cool. Different products, and again, it's all customizable to whatever the client needs, whatever customer needs. But you can install this in a fitness center, in an unused studio space. You can install it in your lobby. You can install it in maybe you had a previous sort of office space or something that's going unused. You can put this virtually anywhere and have these sort of meditation areas and places where people can, again, zen out and have this sort of, you know, get away and have this sort of holistic wellness approach. So very cool product, very cool company. And again, just part of the swath of virtual products that Heartline is partnered with, and we're happy to provide to our clients.
Hey, Jeff, I'm going to add a couple, bad echo here, just a couple points to, you know, 3 Sages in the wall here. And it's a very unique approach. Whereas you may think wellness and yoga and rejuvenation and things like that are very easily accessed on a bazillion apps that are out there. And that's really not the case with 3 Sages. The experience that you'll find here really is, it's focused on outdoor environments. It's focused on sips of wellness. And by sips of wellness, we mean shorter versions, right? You're not going to, you know, an app or a TV screen here and having to spend 30, 45 minutes, right? You can get 5 minutes of breath work. You can get some meditation work, listening to sounds and music. You can get into yoga classes. There's quick fixes with exercises, but it's a very, very, very different experience. And when we start to incorporate this wall and some of the accessory products that go with it, it's really unlike anything else that is out there. And that's one of the reasons why we're involved, and we're building these out in our designs and bring this to our clients. And I think it's the important piece really to a side of the specific product is in our industry. This is probably not correct data right now because we're dealing with COVID, but prior to COVID, 16, 17, 18% of the population had a gym membership. It's not really a whole lot of people when you think about the entire population, right? And to stick yoga and some of these things inside a fitness space could be intimidating. They might not know about it. It may not be up their lane to go into that room and use this. And I think it's important to understand that you can bring this to your hand, right? On a phone, take it with you, but you can also create these environments for people that fitness could be intimidating, right? Or maybe it's just not their thing at all, but in the lobby, in a game room, somewhere separate than fitness, you can create this environment that allows people to rejuvenate, right? Get those sips of wellness, recover. You just had an awful day at work, right? And you just, maybe you combine this with a massage chair, and you sit in the massage chair, you work on breath work, and now you can go back home, right? Or go up to your condo on the 20th floor and you got your head straight right before you went home. So just very unique product and very unique way that we can make this successful and add value to the amenity spaces that we're involved in programming for our clients. So I'll turn back to you, Jeff. Or actually, we're turning it over to Mr. Matt Silver. You get to go now.
Thanks so much for having me, Jeff Vogel. Excellent presentation, and thanks, Doug, from Espresso as well. As you can see, we just have a huge line of these virtual products, and what I'd like to come on this webinar today and talk about is kind of how we've been incorporating these products into these wellness and amenity spaces. Okay. Before I dive into this room that we're looking at here, I want to talk a little bit about, traditional fitness centers, right? A traditional fitness center, over the last decade has been, a couple treadmills, a couple ellipticals, one or two bikes, and a slew of different strength equipment. And, as we work at Heartline with a lot of new developers, as we're working on new construction, multifamily clubhouses being built, or even right now, especially, there's a ton of renovations being done throughout the U.S. and beyond, taking unused rooms or taking rooms that just haven't been fully activated. And I really want to stress the word activation, because when I say activation, I don't just mean putting more bodies in the room, but getting that engagement, that camaraderie, and that engagement that my colleague Mr. Vogel spoke of earlier, when he talked about, the camaraderie and the community that CrossFit built. We're trying to build these community engagements across all these different platforms, whether it's, via Echelon, Espresso, Averon, Three Sages. There's a lot to do. And what we found is we're starting to do two things. Number one, yes, we're still going to put a traditional, treadmills are still the most popular piece of cardio in a fitness center. That's not going anywhere, right? There's different kinds of treadmills now. There's self-generating treadmills. There's treadmills with super duper fancy screen and a click away from your Netflix subscription. But treadmills aren't going anywhere. Ellipticals aren't going anywhere. But we're seeing a lot more niche cardio, like these spin bikes and these rowers and these interactive pieces. So what we've been doing a lot is two things. Number one, we've been adding these pieces and sprinkling them in the mix of a typical. So this what we're showing you is a separate interactive virtual fitness room, right? But if you just have one room and it's 1,500 square feet, and you're calling us to design the room for you, we're getting more creative with putting more engaging cardio and interactive pieces into that room. We're getting away from the traditional, 2 treadmills, 2 ellipticals, 2 bikes, and just a random amount of strength equipment. And, we're putting these different pieces in, whether it's, one interactive one interactive rower and one interactive spin bike, or instead of your traditional recumbent and upright, we're putting those espresso upright and recumbents in. And we're finding that the engagement and the usage on this new interactive cardio is just getting so many more people into that facility. And then the second piece we're doing, which we've outlined here in a couple different slides, Jeff's going to go through today. This is a great top-down image. We use a program that creates these 3D images, so we could actually build the room for you and design it two-dimensionally, and then break it into a three-dimensional crop video or snapshot, and also a walkthrough video. And we've had tremendous success with that. So that's what you're looking at right now. You're looking at an aerial view of a 3D design that I did with a client renovating. They took over a old gym, and they had a studio space, and they didn't just want to have instructors in there and hope people showed up for yoga classes. They really wanted to create something new, and I suggested this interactive room, and this is what we designed for them. You know, starting from the top right there, we have three of the Averon rowers. Okay, again, love the Averon rower. Just to reiterate what Jeff said, what's really neat is it's not just, you know, a landscape or a competition. You could also be playing a video game where you're getting chased by zombies. It's very interactive, and it very much keeps your attention, and it's a very well-built piece. And then to the left of it, you got your 3 Echelon bikes. And again, what's nice about Echelon is Echelon took essentially the idea of the Peloton bike with the, you know, the 20+ inch screen, the touch screen with the live classes, and they've added their own, not only their own live classes in their studio and on all their on-demand content, but they put it on a commercial bike. So you have a spin bike now that's going to last you a very long time. Your pedals aren't going to be falling off. You're not going to have, you know, shrouds cracked. You have a very robust unit in there. And I'm not knocking the other original company there that we won't speak of. And as we continue to loop around the room here, we have our espresso bikes in front of that nice motivational wall art there. You have your recumbent and your upright espresso bike. And again, what's really cool about the espresso bike is as you're on the bike, you're actually moving the handlebars as you go. So if you're turning, you know, if you're going through one of their virtual courses and you're turning on the road, you're actually turning the handlebars. It's as virtual as you could get in terms of having a screen in front of you, showing you the landscape and physically moving the bike as you go through there. It's very, very cool, very interactive, been very popular. And then as we keep going along, we have our, again, Echelon also has the rowers. And again, like Jeff mentioned, what's nice about Echelon is their app, their Echelon app subscription. Those apps are good whether you're on the rower or the bike or the mirror, which I'll go through in a minute. So you're going to get all those different programs. So those screens on those Echelon rowers will actually rotate. I believe it's 180 degrees, so you could do other apps outside of just using the rower as a rower. So those are up and coming. I think they just started delivering those this month. We're really excited. And then to the right of that screen there, rather than your typical slap a TV on the wall and just throw some on-demand fitness, again, the original company was the mirror, and again, Echelon took that and said, that's a great residential product. We're going to make it commercially available, and they came out with the 50-inch Reflect Touch Mirror. And what's really unique about this particular mirror is it has a built-in camera. It's very interactive, whether you're one-on-one with a trainer or you're in a group class or you're taking an on-demand class. There's celebrities that you could train with. And what's nice about all this stuff, and I don't think we've really talked about this at all on this call yet, none of this stuff is extremely expensive. This is all very, you know, on par with what some of this traditional cardio would cost. You know, just for example, these reflect mirrors, you know, you look at them on the wall and you think, oh, that'd be great, but that's gonna kill my budget. It's not. You're looking at $2,000 for one of those mirrors and $600 a year for a subscription. That's for the whole year. That's for unlimited users and hundreds and hundreds of on-demand and live classes. So, you know, in this room, we decided we wanted to be able to keep up with social distancing, as well as have multiple mirrors on the room. So there could easily be 3 people on those 6 mirrors and still be the 6 feet apart. Or as things start to hopefully go back to normal and we can get away from the 6-foot social distancing, you'd have 6 people be able to do 6 different classes on those mirrors rather than the old school. And it's still very popular, the on-demand and the well beats. But what's different about the Echelon is you can have 6 different people doing the class. Or if you just have the one TV on the wall and it's doing the one program and it's doing yoga at 9 a.m., you walk in there and you want to do something other than yoga, you're stuck. So we really created this room to cater to everybody who could possibly want an interactive experience and create that wow factor. When your residents or your potential residents are looking for a community, we still know that the fitness center and the pool are still the top amenities people look for when they're looking at purchasing a condo or a home in an association or renting an apartment at all levels. They expect to see a pool. They expect to see a fitness center. So when they walk in your building, knowing there's 4 other complexes within 10 miles or even 5 miles these days, right? Especially in New Jersey and in DC and Maryland, right? And obviously New York, it's more than just walking and saying, oh, cool, you have a fitness center. That's not good enough anymore. They're like, where's the wow factor? Do you have one of those mirrors? Do you have a Peloton style bike? Do you have a rower? But to have these components in there is going to make or break not only getting people to want to live in your community, but stay in your community and knowing that they don't necessarily have to join the local gym. They have everything above and beyond, because a lot of reasons people join the local gym is for a trainer. And you have a training component and you have this community engagement built into all of these different applications here. So it is a game changer. It's not if you're doing some of this stuff, it's which of these products is going to be most conducive for the community that you're building or that you're renovating. And it's our job at Heartline to provide you with the proper consultation to align, who's living in your community and which of these products would be best suited. And I can't stress enough that they're very budget friendly and they've been extremely popular. And we're so happy to have these offerings outside of just being a traditional fitness company saying, look, we sell, treadmill, bikes, and strength equipment. We have it all. Jeff talked about 3 stages. We want to create these wellness spaces. We want to create these areas where people have more than just a little fitness room, because people are expecting more. And like I said, to be able to have this stuff and be able to take these apps back to their home, like Jeff said, Jeff mentioned in your hand. I like that little way of putting it. Having this mobile technology in your hand from any of these apps that come with a lot of these units is very cool. And it's what the engagement is going to be, through the roof for your residents. And like I said, a couple great shots here of these different, and the greatest part is with technology, they keep making this stuff better and better. When we first partnered with some of these companies, they had 1 or 2 products. All these companies, they continue to innovate. And we continue to have these different stuff. We could do another one of these webinars a month from now and maybe have another, 8 products to show with you guys. But know that at Heartline Fitness, we're going to continue to always have the latest trends and the latest information and access to give you guys the latest and greatest information so that you guys are well positioned to provide the best possible amenity for health and wellness and community activation for all of your residents.
Matt, I wanted to make a point here too, just before we go into Q&A, unless you have a couple other points. But I think it's, one thing that we didn't mention, but is true in some of the designs that we're doing. And I mentioned it with 3 stages, and it's not, this just doesn't have to go in the fitness center. And we've shown an application here where this is extensive, right? We've got an entire room that's based on, a virtual fitness type component, which I think is good for people to understand. Hey, this is one of the trends that's coming, right? That's what this webinar is about. But all this equipment that you're looking at right here is extremely portable, right? So whether you have a large fitness center and you can do a multi-purpose room, virtual room like this, or you just want to slap a mirror or a 3 Sages wall or a couple rowers somewhere, all this stuff has wheels and it rolls around. It connects to Wi-Fi and off you go. So, if you're in an environment where you can drag some of this stuff outside, or there's some other rooms where you can spread things around, it's really very versatile, and it allows you. Again, I'll go back to that 16% of the population has a gym membership, right? So if you can spread this wellness component or this virtual component a little bit more around in your community, right, you're going to get more engagement, right? Because maybe they're a little intimidated of using this stuff in the gym or going into this virtual space with everybody else. But if there's another one in the hallway on the 4th floor that, right, you sign up for it, you go use it, you kind of got your own little space. You couldn't put it in your home, but you can kind of tuck it away somewhere else. There's a percentage of the population that is going to absolutely love that. And when I say 16 to 18% of the population has a gym membership, that means there's a lot that doesn't, and they still need exercise, right? They've been cooped up. They need to rejuvenate. They need those sips of wellness. We're expanding on where we actually design and what we recommend outside of that fitness space. And these are, niche products that, again, virtual is, it's cool, it's hot. You heard cool a lot of times today, but you don't have to just plug this into the fitness center. You can really put it in any space across your community and really enhance that in total, package that you're offering. So, Matt, if you didn't have anything else, I'm going to jump to Q&A, but wanted to thank both of you guys and dive into some questions here. So if you have any questions, we've got a few that have come in prior to the webinar here, so I'll run through those. But if you have any additional ones, let's go ahead and type those in the Q&A now, and we'll just go another 10, 15 minutes, how long we can get through them, and we'll wrap it up. So first one, I think this one's for you, Jeff. Do these products come with a subscription? I think we know that already, but how does that subscription typically work, and what does it cost, right? So we heard a little bit of both of those questions, but maybe let's reiterate that and then talk about cost, and probably cost to the residential consumer as an individual, right? And then as a property, there's a subscription.
Sure. Yes. So short answer is yes. All of these products do need a subscription. As I mentioned, most, if not all of these products incorporate some form of live classes where you actually are filming trainers and people in a studio space and streaming that broadly over the internet, and again, hosting these saved classes up on the cloud where people can access anytime. So yes, there is certainly a subscription component for these products. Whenever Heartline, whenever we're building out one of these facilities and putting in any of these products, we are typically including a 1, 3, 5 year subscription built into our proposals because you really do obviously need them. For residential, it's a little bit different. If you're familiar with like the Peloton model, or this is how Echelon does it as well, you can pay on a monthly basis. You can roll it into the actual purchase of your product, but for commercial purposes, you do need a subscription. Prices range from between, call it $450 and say $600 a year. And again, for Echelon, for example, that covers an unlimited number of users. So if you put a mirror in your fitness center or in your studio space and you spend $600 upfront for that first year subscription, any number of people can come into the fitness center, into the studio, tap on the screen, fire up the mirror, and take a class. Same thing with the Echelon bike. So it's an unlimited user profiles, unlimited user base. It's a little bit different again for residential, so make sure that you're getting a commercial subscription if you buy one of these products, because for the residential, it's limited number of user potential, of user profiles. So did I answer the question? Or
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm going to pull back to this slide too, because I think there's another point here to make, and then Matt, I've got a question for you too, but and treadmill manufacturers, elliptical manufacturers, hold your ears because you're not going to like what I have to say, right? But let's just compare this room versus your typical 3 treadmills, 3 ellipticals, couple bikes, strength equipment, right? And let's talk about maintenance, right? So when you look at the maintenance requirements of the equipment that's in this room versus your typical fitness center, this is an extremely reduced maintenance requirement here with the virtual space, okay? So treadmills, ellipticals, those types of machines have a lot more wear items, right, that are fairly expensive over time. And I wanted to present this just in kind of contrast to some other equipment doesn't have subscriptions, right? But they got a dozen programs, they got 20 programs. That's all you ever get, right? It's never updated, right? The subscription gets you the updates, but also I think when you're looking at these types of machines, there's less moving parts, there's less wear items. So your cost of ownership over time in some of these virtual spaces, um, it more than exceeds what, or the reduction of your cost of ownership more than exceeds what your cost, for these subscriptions are. And you're keeping things updated, engaged, right? And that's what we're talking about with the lifestyle and the communities. That's what's keeping people coming back for more. So I think that's a good point. And my question really to you, Matt, and you can tell a different story here because you've got real experience with it, with your clients is, how are they receiving this type of design? You may have clients coming to you saying, I want an Echelon bike. I want an espresso bike. What can we do with that wall? What's the latest and greatest? And I remember these questions from years ago. And we might put a climbing wall in, and we didn't have virtual fitness, but I think you're getting those questions now and you're able to come to the table with, some really cool, fun products virtually. How are clients receiving this when you finally present this to them?
Yeah, it's been very well received, even if it's me kind of bringing it up, without being prompted. A lot of times I'll get a new design and they'll have a general space and then I'll have a multi-purpose studio. And for the longest time, the multi-purpose studio was a couple mats and a couple random yoga balls and just a random TV on the wall. And I would walk in those rooms and I'd be like, what do you got going in here? Well, sometimes 3 or 4 people once a month will do, a yoga class. And I'm like, what about the rest of the time? They're like, nothing. And, there's dust balls in the corner. And I'm trying to convert those rooms. And I've been working with clients to convert those rooms into mini versions of this room. Again, this is the all-out example of the optimal virtual training center, if you will. But even just putting 1 or 2 of those reflect mirrors and, a couple, maybe an Echelon bike and an Averon rower. That's kind of been, the move I've been going with, depending on the size of the room. And it's been very well received, and the clients are so much happier instead of walking into this multi-purpose studio that doesn't really serve a purpose other than holding. It's essentially a glorified closet with accessories, with balls and mats. Now they actually have a whole nother separate room that they're able to engage and really have an activated additional fitness space from their main fitness center. So it's been very well received and we've had tremendous success with it.
Awesome. Thank you, Matt. I'm going to read one of these questions here from John Schaefer. With the explosion of these technology, our challenge in the corporate market is trying to decipher the quality and safety of the technology around virtual products, service classes, etc. How is Heartline evaluating what tech products and service partners for quality, from the quality and safety perspective? So again, I'll just kind of sum that up, from a safety perspective and ensuring that, we're not, I'm the CrossFit kid, right? And the bad name CrossFit has is you're throwing people into an explosive, dynamic, ballistic exercise, and they don't have the stability, the coordination, or the technique to do some of these Olympic lifts. I don't think when you look at these products just simply from the perspective of this picture, right? We're talking about bicycling, we're talking about rowing, we're talking about biomechanical functions here that most people have figured out how to do, right? Figured out how to walk. The mirrors and some of the functional training and some high intensity things that you can get into, yeah, there can be some concern there, but a lot of these companies are bringing in, master trainers, certified professional instructors to do this. And again, it's up to the users. You have to have some diversity here from, you know, being able to handle a very deconditioned client up to, hey, here's the CrossFit kid that wants to get out of it and leave a puddle of sweat on the mat in the fitness center. So you have that range. And I think in the corporate wellness setting, as you do your initial screening, right, and you're subscribing what that client should be doing, yeah, whether it's a treadmill, it's virtual fitness, or the programs that here, it's really up to that onboarding process, I think, in the corporate wellness setting to make sure you provide that, right? And anything that we're doing always goes through, a PAR-Q type thing. And that's the case in commercial, managed facilities. You want to make sure that the person is cleared by a doctor. There's no health risk or concerns before you participate in physical activity. So again, we have not seen anything so wild and crazy and extreme in any of these virtual products that is concerning for us. And we do go through a screening of all these products before we bring them on. Is it a fit for our clients? Is it a fit for the end users? And what we're designing in the amenity space. So great question, John. And thank you for bringing that up. We have one from Kelly Spivey. Do these virtual pieces use Bluetooth or traditional headphones or with speakers? And I think whoever wants to take that one, go for it.
So I can jump in. All three. So for example, the Reflect mirror has a built-in speaker. However, it also has Bluetooth, and that is across the board for all of the Echelon products. So if you have Bluetooth headphones that you want to use on the bike, on the rower, on the Reflect treadmill, what have you, yes, that is a capability. So Bluetooth headphones. All the products also do have their standard headphone jacks, your AV jacks. So if you have your standard headphones or you want to bring in those big Dr. Dre Beats headphones for whatever reason, sure, you can do that. And again, they also have speakers. So if you're in the room by yourself and you want to use the speakers on the products themselves, you can do so. However, again, really, these products are designed as sort of a more one-on-one, intimate sort of training session. So you probably do want to incorporate some sort of headphone system so that it feels like more that they're speaking to you. And again, if you've got a room such as the one you're seeing on your screen, you may have 3 or 4 people in there on different products. So you certainly don't want any interference when you're trying to listen to your particular trainer, tell you to push it harder or what have you.
Awesome. Matt, I'll give this next question to you. So, as you're designing these rooms, we don't have it in this 3D layout necessarily, except for the mats, but obviously, there's accessories that we can recommend. What are you seeing go into a virtual space like this besides kind of the tower to hold the mats? There's some other things that we've obviously put into these spaces.
Yeah, so depending on the size of the room, there's a few different options. If we have a decent sized room like this, we're doing a lot with TRX. TRX has a really nice storage as well as a suspension bay where I'm able to load up just a ton of accessories and have all those accessories lined up on the wall on nice shelving, and also provides the functional training TRX element to it. We also do a lot with a company called Prism Fitness where they have different accessory towers as a point of entry to have the basic accessories to go with it, which includes mats, balls, bands, foam rollers, everything you possibly need to get started. And usually with the addition of some light dumbbells, that's your kind of entry-level starter kit to be able to use the Reflect mirrors, especially. In addition, light dumbbells on the Echelon bikes as well. But we're able to put together some basic starter kits, and we're always able to add on later. What we want to do is make sure that each room has enough to get going, and then we can always add on later. What we don't want to do is pile on a bunch of stuff that's gonna again, get cluttered up or be a mess or be on the ground and be a a tripping hazard. We like stuff that's flush mounted to the wall, or it's easily accessible, and it's basic stuff. And I find my customers continue to add on as new residents come in and are looking for different stuff. We're able to accommodate and build that room as the engagement continues to flow and continue to progress.
Awesome. Thank you, Matt. So we got 2 minutes. I can squeeze one more question in here, and it's actually a great question. And Jeff, so for you, is personal information kept secure? As you know, I'm assuming we create logins and accounts and things like that to use the virtual equipment. Traditional equipment kind of stores your results and then it resets and it's gone, but we've got subscriptions here, right? So great question.
Yeah, very good question. So yes, so for just again using the Echelon bike as an example, for a user who does not have any experience with Echelon previously, when you walk up to that commercial bike in your fitness center, it will ask you to sign up. And what that sign up includes is just a username, a password. It will ask you when you first create that profile to input some information about yourself, height, weight, male, female, general sort of information about yourself, just so it can kind of track your data. But the tracking is strictly for yourself. It will follow you just like a Facebook profile. You have to sign on to your own personal profile. The information that is being taken from the bike itself, you know, how hard you pedaled, your wattage, your output, mileage, calories burned, what have you, is not being provided to Echelon. It is only being solely provided to you, and it is stored in your personal profile. Anecdotally, here in DC, I actually installed a bike for the Supreme Court for one of the justices. I'm not going to say who it was, but obviously some heavy duty privacy concerns. And we were able to actually turn off any sort of outgoing data. They were actually able to turn off, there is a camera built into the screens. They were able to turn off the cameras. So if there are any concerns, let us know. Again, these companies, they're all very nimble and able to sort of adjust their software accordingly. But yes, your privacy, your data is all secure. And again, you can sign up, create your own personal profile, or you can sign up as a guest. You can just create a sort of generic profile. You don't have to share any of your information if you don't want to, concerning height, weight, all that stuff. So it's as informative as you want it to be in terms of tracking your personal progress, and it's as you know, privacy based as you want it to be as well. So yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeff. Okay, so you know, we'll wrap up here too, and you know, just my final comment on, you know, entering some of this information into the equipment. I used to find some people didn't want to tell the truth with how much they weighed or how tall they were sometimes on the cardio equipment. And, you know, really these machines are using those metrics to figure out how many calories you've burned, the watts, things like that. So if you want good information out of it, you got to put good information in it. This is not, you know, what we've seen on the news with Facebook and things like that, and all kinds of profiling and data tracking. It's very focused in on fitness and keeping people fit and well and healthy. So I'd like to thank everyone. And Doug, thank you for jumping in. Jeff Vogel, great presentation. Thank you, Matt Silver. We're obviously available. You can contact us at info@Heartline Fitness, or you can call us direct. Jeff Vogel, very accessible through just jeff@heartlinefitness.com, and Matt Silver's email is matt.silver@Heartline Fitness. So we thank you. We'll be back in 2 weeks with another webinar for everyone, and have a wonderful day.